So now that 2018 is coming to an end, I figured I'd talk about one of my favorite genres, and that's comic book movies. So I'm here to rank all the comic book movies that came out this year. So let me preface this by saying that I did not actually see Teen Titans go to the movies. It's not something that I'm really that interested in, not because I think it's bad, because I actually heard it was decent, especially compared to the show. Just didn't get around to it, never really found myself very interested in it. So, with that said, starting with number 7, I got Venom. Man, this movie really let me down because most friends I talked to going in said that it was pretty good. So I gave it a shot and oof, did not work for me at all. The only thing that did was Tom Hardy's performance. I mean, dude, he's always going to give everything he's got, and his character's relationship with Venom. Other than that, nothing else really worked for me at all. Starting with the inconsistent tones, this movie was just all over the place. The storytelling was not very good. The character of Venom was inconsistent himself. The Riz Ahmed was terribly miscast as the villain. The final fight was just two CGI dark aliens fighting at night. You can't see what the hell is going on. But the biggest sin this movie did was it was rated PG-13 instead of R. The one thing I expect out of a Venom movie is to be able to see Venom go around and eat people's fucking heads off. And you can't even see that in this movie because it's rated PG-13. So when that happens, they pan away and you can't see what the hell's going on. So the one thing I expected out of a Venom movie, we don't even get to see. So coming in at number 6 is going to be Aquaman. Now this is a huge jump up from number 7 because I, for the most part, really enjoyed this movie. It's a lot of fun. I never found myself bored at all. The visuals are amazing. The effects are incredible. And this movie was very well directed by James Wan. But it definitely suffers from some very familiar story beats and some very cheesy, over-the-top moments that just did not work for me, and some very misplaced humor. So coming in at number 5 is going to be Deadpool 2. Now, again, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It was an absolute blast, and there are times where I was just laughing so hard that I couldn't even tell what was going on. And I might have even missed some stuff when I first saw this movie in the theater because I was laughing so hard. It was hilarious, but at the same time, some of the jokes did not land, and there were so many of them. It was one after another, joke, that there's a lot of them that did land. There's also a lot that didn't, and especially some that are more pop culture related. They're not really going to work a few years later, and people are going to be wondering what that was all about. Also, one thing I didn't really like about this movie is it kind of went away from the simplistic nature of the first Deadpool movie and had a really complicated plot that at times just felt really convoluted, and just it didn't work for me at times. So at number 4, I got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now this movie is also very entertaining, also very fun, also very funny. Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, Ant-Man he's always great. Dude's got a ton of charisma. But honestly, in this one, he was outshined by the Wasp, played by Evangeline Lilly, Hope. She was fantastic in this movie. She really stole the show for me, and Michael Douglas is awesome as usual. Michael Pena, God, just that dude, everything the dude says is gold in these movies, and I'm laughing so hard whenever he tells one of his crazy, overly long, overly complicated stories where you see him talking, but the other people, you see the other people talking, but you hear his voice. Man, those are great. But this movie suffers big time from the Marvel villain problem, especially Walton Goggins, the over-the-top dude that's just trying to make money, and it's just did not work for me at all. Also, this movie seems very small scale compared to some of the stuff we've seen recently, which is a bit unfair to it, and a lot of people like that, but there just felt like there was really no stakes or consequences to the things that were going on. At least until the end credit scene, that is, because this movie contains maybe one of the best end credit scenes in the entire MCU and really ties it in just when we thought it wasn't going to have anything to do with Infinity War. So at number 3, I got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Man, this movie shocked the world. It took the comic book world by storm and the animated world by storm. This movie was unique as hell. The animation style is something we've never seen before, and for the most part, it really worked. This movie has a great soundtrack. The characters are just so relatable and so amazing, and the voice actors were chosen perfectly for this. I can't think of anyone that did a bad job at all. Just a really fun movie that had a lot of humor, a lot of action, and a lot of emotional moments. A surprisingly large amount of emotional moments that really landed. The only real negatives I have with this movie is the design of Kingpin. I know he's supposed to be a really big dude, but this was just a little much. And it did not seem like he really fit within this universe at all. And there was also a twist that happens about maybe 3/4 through the movie that most people really praise, but I feel it just wasn't earned enough because we didn't really see enough of a character that ends up having a twist to him. I don't want to really get into spoilers here in case you haven't seen it, so I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, really enjoyed Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's at number 3. So at number 2, I got Black Panther. And what makes this movie so special is that it tackles some very real life situations and some real life issues, and it really transcends the comic book genre because of that. It's more than just a superhero movie, but it also keeps the superhero stuff in it. So it's a very good mixture of real stuff and important themes and sticking to the comic book genre as well. This movie hits a lot of emotional beats, and I gotta tell you, this fixed the Marvel villain problem with just absolute flying colors. Michael B. Jordan's portrayal of Eric Killmonger is amazing. He's relatable. You understand why he's doing what he's doing, even though he's evil. And he gives probably the best performance in the movie. He steals the show. All the side characters are amazing, which can be a bit of a downside, actually, because T'Challa kind of loses his thunder in this movie. He's really outshined by the surrounding cast. And the only real other negatives I have with this movie is that there is some bad CGI, especially at the end fight, and it's really noticeable. And it drags a little bit in the first third of the movie. But I forgot to mention the score. This movie has it definitely has the best score of the entire MCU. Mixing, kind of current hip-hop with classic African cultural music, and it works perfectly. So Black Panther is at number 2. So my number 1 comic book movie of 2018 by a landslide is Avengers Infinity War. Man, this movie was a culmination of everything that had happened in the 18 MCU movies leading up to it. And I can't believe how well they pulled this off. How well they mixed in all these characters and all their different, tones and all their different personalities. And for the most part, they balanced it out perfectly. This movie is epic. It's emotional. It even has some really good humor at times. It is very well paced. There's a ton of great action. It looks amazing. And, of course, Thanos is the best villain in the MCU. Just as we thought Eric Killmonger had taken that nod, and he did at the time, in my opinion. Maybe Loki would give him a run for his money because he's been in more movies, but Thanos takes the cake for me. Again, a villain that is doing something that he believes is right. He's the hero of his own story, and while Thanos is very intimidating and scary and big, and whenever he's on the screen we really feel his presence, there's also this kind of broken, sad thing about him too, where you feel bad for him a little bit, and you kind of think that he deserves to succeed in a way. And you, at some points, you know he's evil for the things that he's trying to do, but he also really makes you think, this guy really makes some sense. And man, this ending, this is one of the craziest, ballsiest, most amazing endings I've ever seen in a comic book movie and in any movie, period. And I have no idea. We're 4 months away from Avengers Endgame, and I have no idea what's going to happen and where they're going to go. That's how much this ending really worked and just really has us thinking. So obviously, Avengers Infinity War is my number one comic book movie of 2018. So there you have it. My ranking of all the comic book movies of 2018. I got a couple more ranking videos coming up soon. I got my most disappointing movies, my favorite movies, and my most anticipated for 2019. So stick around, like this video, make sure to subscribe, and always make sure to hit that notification bell after you subscribe so you get notified when I post a video. Otherwise, subscribing doesn't really have that much of a purpose. And guys, spread the word. And stay tuned because I got some more good stuff coming up. See you soon.